Hello and welcome to The Wire. I'm Siddharth Bhatia. We have a very special guest for you today, Mr. Julio Rebeiro, the well-known policeman, civil servant, ambassador, and now more and more a speaker on public issues. Mr. Ribeiro, you've been intervening a lot in very, very important issues and concerns of late, and only recently you wrote a very scathing article where you talked about the insecurity that the minorities are feeling.
Yeah.
But you have used strong phrases like Hindu Rashtra, second class citizen,
Yeah.
and in fact, at one place, you have talked about how fascist forces operate.
Yeah.
This must really mean that you have some very, very strong concerns about what is going on.
Well, I always thought that we were living in a different world from the time I was born here in Bombay, and I grew up here, but interacted with numerous people. In the beginning, of course, mainly relatives and friends from the community, but after I joined service, I mean, I've become a person who knows most of my friends are not Christian, but I felt that there was no difference between us.
All these years.
All these years. I mean, I never felt the difference, and particularly in service. Nobody ever treated me differently, nor did I treat anyone differently. We were all part of the same Indian society, and we were working for the nation. And then suddenly we get this little bit of a entry of communal aspect, and that is what really worries us. Worries the community. It's a small community, as you know, and it doesn't have any particular political clout or anything like that, but it is very prominent in the health sector, in the education sector in
Definitely.
particular, the social service sector, working for the poor. I mean, these are sectors that, you know, where you address poverty to some extent, and to the extent you can, I mean, individuals or groups can, and that is what we have been, the Christian, what we call missionaries, we call them the priests and the nuns, they have been attempting to do. Very often they are suspected of trying to convert people. That is the main problem, I think, which the
One of the main problems.
Hindutva forces have with the Christians. But personally, I have not seen that happening. I studied in St. Xavier's School. All my 8 years of schooling were in that school, and we had there were, of course, a number of Christian boys, but mainly there were Hindus or even many Muslims and Parsis. There were many Parsis. And I don't think anyone got converted. And there was no attempt, as far as I could see, of anybody trying to convert somebody.
So this you're talking about a certain kind of old India that you used
That
to.
is which I grew up in.
Where you grew up, where you were in a police force which was extremely secular and mixed.
Absolutely.
And subsequently also you know, after your retirement, you must have seen what has changed. How did it change?
Well, we didn't see this change right up. We had a BJP government of Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee.
In the 90s.
In the
90s.
And I didn't see any change, and we felt as comfortable at that time as any. In fact, Mr. Vajpayee, as soon as he took over, I do not know whether you know it, within a week he phoned me asking me to come and meet him. He wanted me to go as governor of Jammu and Kashmir. So I told him that I am so involved in work over here for communal harmony. He said, I didn't know about this. So I told him of the work I was doing.
That was the advanced locality management that you were doing?
No. Advanced locality management is with the Agni.
Okay.
Jason Nikuna does that.
Yeah.
We do that. Mohalla committees is for communal harmony, and we work mainly in the slums.
Okay.
Work and trying to get the communities to understand each other, Hindus and Muslims. We never thought about Christians at all. So that they don't fight like they did in 93. It is a shameful thing that happened. So we said, I consider this to be my city. And I said that why should people fight like this? And that is how I got involved in that work.
So in 98, 99, when you met Mr. Vajpayee, things were different. And now, not only you, a lot of people are saying this, that India is a different place. But is it changed so much that you actually feel that there is room for that people could feel second class?
I'll be very, very upfront and candid with you. I have met Mr. Modi earlier when he was the chief minister of, and I was very worried about what happened in 2002. On the day that Godhra happened, the district magistrate of Godhra, she was a girl called Jyoti Ravi, I didn't know her, she phoned me from there on that very day saying this has happened, can you come and help us? So I said, Madam, how do I help you? And it will be misunderstood. I can't. I work for communal harmony. I do it earlier to a thing like this. But then I asked her how that happened, and she explained to me that the train left Ratlam 7 hours late. So the theory that everything was planned cannot be true, because there was a mechanical failure of the train. So it reached Godhra early in the morning, when actually it should have reached around midnight. And then all these people got down from the train, including the car sevaks. Car sevaks have nothing to do with any communal this. They are Ram Bhakts, and we have to be sympathetic to them. They are really, people who were taken there. There were, I'm told, 3 or 4 VHP Karyakarte there. And one of them, I think, pulled the beard. That is what Jyoti told me of one of those Ganchis, the vendor. You see, there's a community called the Ganchis who are on that station. They live in Signal Fata. It is a very notorious place, and they usually live by stealing things from the train, petty thefts, or by picking pockets. They're well known to the police, and those are the ones who actually probably did that. I'm almost sure. And what they did because of revenge for having pulled that beard.
But you're saying that you at that time went much later went and met.
I just told you about that, and then later I thought of going to Ahmedabad, because I found that the police had failed. How could the police fail to that extent? I was surprised, because you had the notice. You had notice. That girl had phoned me, so obviously they were
administration knew.
Yeah, so they knew that something was going to happen. You can't burn 58 people and not expect a repercussion. Bound to happen. So you got to be prepared for that. So first of all, they allowed those bodies to come to Ahmedabad. That was the first mistake. Second, they did not arrest anybody who is likely to have committed. And I had been DG of the state.
Really?
I had been DG of Gujarat, and I knew these officers. And I said, you know what I did when I was there? How I handled that matter of communal riots. Why did you not do the same thing? And then they told me in confidence what instruction they got. I don't want to compromise there, because they said it in full confidence, knowing that I'm not going to speak, because they still haven't got the same courage, or whatever you call it. But there were some officers who really did their job as police officers, as they are supposed to do under the Constitution. And those Mr. Modi transferred out within 15 days. It was quite clear that he didn't want them to do what they did.
So what you're suggesting is that the portents of what is happening today.
Exactly. So with that knowledge of Gujarat. Now another thing I want to tell you about that, which is very significant, it remains in my subconscious. The Gujaratis are very friendly with me. They were, in fact, I was offered a ticket from the Congress party. They said, take any ticket, any constituency in Gujarat, and the BJP won't put up a candidate against you. I said, I have no interest in politics, and I don't want to join politics, so please forget it. But this was the friendship of the Gujaratis with me. So they posted me at dinner. There were 60 or 70 of them, and they were doctors, lawyers, they were the intelligentsia, whatever you may call it. And the way they were talking, I knew for certain, it made me believe that Mr. Modi, being a good politician, would know that unless he permitted this kind of thing that happened, he would not have come up in the manner that he came. This is what strictly I really believe.
So society, that is Gujarat and other places, were changing.
Absolutely. No, I don't know whether they were changing. You know that this against the Muslims is a very old feeling,
yeah.
Because it has historical roots from the time of Ghazni. And
you know, but even then, I realized that, but even then, to see it spread all over the country.
I had a staff officer, when I was the DG there, a boy called Nambudiri, a very good officer, excellent, from Kerala. And this boy became the Commissioner of Police, Ahmedabad, and the DG of the state. He had retired. He came and took me round everywhere. And he had every day he goes to the temple, every day, barefoot. But he is very secure, just like B.N. Sri Krishna. Same this. Justice Sri Krishna also goes every day to the temple. But he is absolutely fair, honest, straightforward, and so is Nambudiri. He had a Muslim driver. So these VHP people kept phoning him to get rid of that driver. So he said, why? And he said that they should not be given any job. So he said, this is a small job. He said, no job at all for these people. So he kept that man for a month or more at his house.
So again, I go back to, so how has that spread? Your argument is that now the entire nation is in the grip of these kind of forces who are spreading this kind of...
No, what I wanted to say, this is the background I gave you.
Yes.
So it is in my subconscious. So when they came to power, I knew at once that this is not going to be the same India that we knew. It is not going to be the same.
Well, that's a very...
absolutely. I told my wife, now this is a different country.
And you have seen that
I've seen
fear coming true.
Yeah, very happy. Very
so
happy.
what are list some of the things that are really troubling you? For example, one is of course the national mood, but or the exploitation of a certain sentiment. But what are the things that have really started?
I must first begin by telling you that I have personally nothing against any political party. This is very clear. I am not in favor of this party or that. In fact, I would say there's a right of centre party. I was willing to accept that because most of these Congress and others are left of centre. If that kind of economy has failed or not brought people out of poverty, if the right of centre can help, fair enough, let us try it out. But not with this baggage, not with this social baggage. This is the baggage that I am worried about, that you want to use development, improvement. They are doing it. I mean, let me tell you, there are a lot of development is taking place, particularly with roads, with infrastructure, with some of the things Mr. Modi has done. I totally support him. The direct to
bank transfer.
To bank transfer, I think it's a big thing, and also to that Swachh Bharat, the concept, even though the implementation may go awry because of inefficiency, etc., but still the concept is good. I think he means well, and what he has done abroad also has given us a much better name than we had earlier. Many things are plus, but this is really bringing us down, because I don't see any country which treats its minorities as second-class citizens will be able to really carry it carry it through.
But
It's not going to work.
But do you think that this comes from the very top, encouragement, or looking the other way?
My theory is that unless Mr. Modi supports that in whatever way he can, he will not probably get the same kind of support from this grassroots people who bring him all those votes. You see, the BJP has got committed votes. About 22% or
That's
20% are their committed votes. And those people let down Mr. Vajpayee last time. They let him down because he did not do this other thing that like Mr. Modi is allowing now.
So that keeps the
balance.
The voter happy.
Voter, no, the party. That
the party
if
happy.
it wants to be re-elected, if it wants to be in power, he says, for 10 or 15 years, then he will have to keep that fringe happy.
Now, coming to specifics, you've said that they've gone after the Muslims, and in true fascist style, they will now come after the other minorities.
Yeah.
So, has something happened?
To the Christians?
Yes.
I don't think so. Not in Bombay.
But elsewhere there have been reports.
in beginning when they first came, there was some of those little, sporadic attacks on some churches. They are saying that it is all proved to be that I don't believe them at all. I know the. I'll tell you something very unknown to him. My own nephew, and he is an architect, and he was given. He is not a church-going person at all. I don't think he believes. His wife is also a Hindu. They are both. They say they are atheists. But he got a job. The church gave him because he was practicing individual practice, his own practice of architecture, of building some church in an area where there was no church, in which all this were given. The usual procedures and all permissions were given. As when he went there, he got such a thrashing from these fellows. Those what is that party? The BHP, and the other one is Bajrang Dal. They gave him such a thrash. So his father-in-law, his father, everybody phoned me. So I said, leave it. You're not going to get any.
Your own nephew?
My own nephew. I said, leave it. Don't go to the police. Don't do anything. Don't take that job. Give it up, and just see that your injuries are.
So these are not minor things.
But that is bad. This is in Delhi. In Delhi is a very bad place for this. So and the north of India is quite different from here. Quite different from Bombay. If you talk about Bombay, there is no problem at all. No problem at all.
Yet you are saying that there are conversations happening within the community that they are worried?
Most of the Christians have got no political sense.
But you know that many of them also are supporters of the BJP.
Well, particularly in Bandra and all, there were a lot of my own family. I can tell you, my own son-in-law, my nephew, I don't know about my daughters. They are very astute. But I think generally there was a lot of support for the BJP in 2014, or even in that assembly election. And the intention was good economic advancement, a good share market. This is what they think of. Now some sense has come into their head. They've seen.
But those things don't happen in isolation.
No. So they have seen that. They have intelligent people.
So the Archbishop Kuto came out with this. Now there has been a statement in Goa also. So there's some talk about how these religious leaders should stay out of politics. When Father Frazier at Xavier's had said, please vote carefully. Yeah. He was pilloried. So these are pillars of the community. These are important people. Should people like our Archbishop Kuto stay out of saying these things?
It's very difficult for them. At the same time, I'm surprised that he did come out, because if I was in his place, I would not talk about the election. Even if he had kept that election out, they could not have
It was a pretty upfront statement.
So, that is working on their mind. They are very worried, I can tell you that. Because what is going to happen? Tomorrow, if Mr. Modi comes back, which is quite on the cards, then another 5 years he's there. If he allows these fringe elements to go haywire like they are doing now, he's just not able to control them. This will become like Pakistan. What happens in Pakistan today? The Pakistanis, every time there is a terrorist attack, and everybody complains, the world complains, they said, but we are the biggest victims. They keep saying we are but who has started it? Who allowed them to continue? It is they who have nurtured these people. So if you nurture people like this, you will not be able to control them.
And also this influence of the mullahs there, you'll have the influence of all these swamis and...
most of the swamis are good people. I mean, they are not persons.
What I'm trying to say is these are not constitutional forces.
No.
Who will then start demanding and, pressuring on what public debate should be, public behavior should be. And that is what you're really saying.
I don't know whether the Swamis
Hindu Rashtra. Well, maybe not Swamis, but maybe these lumpen elements.
The lumpen and mainly these VHP and others. I mean, I don't know what they are up to. But they want, for example, they talk about Ghar Wapsi. Now, what is this? Now, look, we were Hindus 400 years ago. I mentioned it quite often. I accepted. We cannot deny that. And there's no reason to deny. And we were here, but now suppose you want to say that all of you all should be reconverted. I mean, it's a stupid thing to talk, not in this day and age. And if you talk about conversions, you see, it's mass conversion that cause trouble. These individual conversions, somebody wants to get converted, you can't stop them constitutionally. And number two, what difference does it make? It's mass conversion that cause social tensions. For example, whole village is converted, then you have you won't have scheduled castes to do this and do that. So the whole social order in a village is upset. That I agree. But that doesn't happen. Where is it happening? Have they told us of any such case? It's only some individuals who are converted because the padris have treated them well and done their, looked
And also
after.
it's individual choice.
It's a minor. It's not going to make any big problem.
So you mentioned 2019. Where do you see this going in the next few years? Where do you see India going? What do you think the concerns of the minorities will be? And of course also the secular majority.
I have a feeling that all this attempt to development is the secondary this to the Hindu Rashtra. This is the minorities feel like that. What you want to do is actually bring the concept of Hindu Rashtra as propounded by Edgewar and by Golwalkar and others. And if you want to bring that by also doing good things where other people also support you, and finally you come up with this and then say that, look, you don't have this right, you don't have that right, then I think it's going to cause a lot of trouble. Today, the Christians have not been so badly affected. This is a fact. Why should we also say we are when we are not? But the Muslims, I think their Jeffrelot has got that. He has related the whole conditions on basis of empirical studies that he makes.
Yes.
And where they've said that their standard of living has fallen by huge percentage points.
But you've seen what they are in government service, etc. Hardly any.
They don't.
So, and there is prejudice. There is institutional prejudice.
Yes, there is. There's no doubt about that.
You know what happened in this city,
Yes.
25 years ago.
Yes, against Muslims there's no doubt about it. And to some extent I would say that community also has to think about how to get out of their old. That is a different matter. I think a totally different subject. Particularly I feel they should allow that women to be liberated. That much I don't like it. I don't like that veil, and I don't like
So
that's my personal.
To put it in a nutshell,
Yeah.
are you at this stage of your life when you've seen so much, you grew up in an India, as you said, which was vastly different, and you've seen things change for the worse, are you a worried man?
Not for myself. I don't
But
think.
for India?
But for the country, yes. I don't think that if you try to treat minorities as second-class citizens, the country can go forward. I don't think so. It's not possible. First of all, you can't eliminate 20% of the population. That even 16% or 18%, you can't. It's a stupid concept. But even keeping them down in the manner that you are doing now, I think it's a very dangerous proposition. Very dangerous. You see, the terrorism of the minorities, say the Muslim Islamic terrorism, can be kept down. We could keep down the Sikh terrorism. As you know, I was in
Yes.
Punjab. But where will you keep if Hindus start doing it? It's not possible. The majority, if they start it, there's going to be, who's going to control them? And that is a very dangerous thing. I mean, I'm talking as a police officer now, not as a Christian or something, or not as a minority. Because it's very difficult to control any such movement in the majority. If Pakistan is not able to control it, we have seen it. They have to now integrate those fellows.
You keep comparing India with what Pakistan is.
Yeah, I'm very afraid because you see, today there is what is that law they call blasphemy? Anybody can come and say that this man has blasphemed the Quran or blasphemed the Prophet. He's put inside. I mean, you know it. It's happening almost every day. And if this kind of thing goes, he's anti-national. He's doing this. He's saying this. If you speak against what the government says, then you are anti-national. I don't understand this concept at all. This is something that is not acceptable and also is going to cause trouble for them. They will not have a smooth sailing if they go on doing this. In any country in the world, minorities are pampered to some extent. There is no doubt. See, I was ambassador in Romania. There are 8% Hungarian speaking people in that, in the Transylvanian border.
Yes.
And they out of 40 districts in Romania, 4 majority Hungarian speaking. They want their own language to be the medium of administration in those 4 districts, plus of the courts. It was permitted. They said, why quarrel over that? Theek hai, do it. We may have to translate if it comes to the higher court over there. But these are things that you have to take them along. You see, a good leader takes everyone along.
This is what Nehru understood in the beginning.
Exactly. You take people along. You don't go on quarreling with them and saying that you are this and you are that. And then,
on a final note, if you got an opportunity to sit across the Prime Minister or anyone in power today, what would you say to them?
I would not what to say to the Prime Minister because I have met him twice. And he has been very kind and very good and, very civil with me. Yeah. And I have had no problem. But and he's very shrewd. I mean, he listens, but he has his own calculations. And one of the calculations, I'm sure, is how do you remain in power? Because after all, he's a politician. I have a feeling that even his problem with Togadia, which he has had in the beginning, they were very friendly.
That's right.
And when this 2002 riot took place, I have a feeling, this is my gut feeling, I may be wrong, that perhaps he felt that one day was enough for that, for whatever they wanted to do. But Togadia was not going to stop with one day. Togadia's this is quite different. So I think that was the falling out probably. Otherwise, he had to face Mr. Vajpayee, who said that you are not doing your Raj Dharma. So you see, so this is where I feel. So there is a problem with he has to calculate his own future and his own this thing.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Rebeiro.
Yeah.
You've given us a lot of food for thought. I still think that it is interventions of people such as yours which will make a difference. So I'm very happy you have been so candid to The Wire. Thank you.
To receive instant updates on all videos from The Wire, click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon. Pay to support independent journalism. Click the link in the description and choose the amount you want to pay.